They say the house always wins, but what if you wake up and realize you were its biggest sucker all along? This week, the most celebrated app on Solana, Pump.fun, just announced a $1 billion token sale at a $4 billion valuation after already sucking out $700 million from the community that it turned into the juggernaut it is today. Everyone's wondering, is this the final betrayal before the next Solana bull run? Or just the loudest alarm that the game has changed? By the end of this video, you'll see the dark truth behind crypto's favorite casino, learn how to spot the next extraction machine before it drains your stack, and walk away with a checklist you need to stay ahead. Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen, because you do not want to be exit liquidity for what comes next. This is a very important video because when gains start coming, you will likely get suckered in if you're not up to date. Not long ago, Pump.fun was crypto's golden child. My X timeline was full of viral meme coins, traders celebrating 10 to 100x gains overnight, and the kind of anyone can win energy that brought in hordes of new users to Solana. Even at first, I thought it was pretty cool. Anyone could mint a coin. Who wouldn't want an ecosystem where anyone with an idea could instantly launch a token and watch it run up to Valhalla? But then greed crept in. It always does. Slowly, the feel-good headlines faded, replaced by rumors of crazy fees, insider deals, and the gnawing realization that every meme run was making someone else rich, not the community. Yesterday's breaking news dropped the mask for good. Pump.fun's team is raising $1 billion at a $4 billion valuation. There have been rumors, but no concrete details of an airdrop for users or any redistribution of their profits. This sparked outrage and seems to me like it could be a massive payout for the founders and insiders who engineered the game. I've spent years on both sides of the space. I built a launchpad from scratch and backed early projects as a VC and an angel. Some of my calls turned into the biggest wins of the last cycle. I got in early on a few that went 100x, put my name behind the teams that are now industry leaders, and helped everyday investors get life-changing returns. But for every home run, I've also been on the front lines when things went sideways. One launch in particular stands out. I did my research, connected the team to my network, and invested personally. Everything checked out until the day it didn't. The founders disappeared, the token tanked, and it hit me just how quickly trust can evaporate. Those moments stick with you. The wins are great, but the losses remind you just how real the risks are in this game. That's why I don't just scratch the surface when I'm doing due diligence. I dig as deep as I possibly can, so you're never left holding the bag for someone else's shortcuts. Today, I'll show you how Pump.fun became the ultimate liquidity siphon and how to recognize the red flags. By the end, you'll be ready to change the game, protect your stack, and support the next wave of real builders. Let's start at the beginning. When it first launched, Pump.fun looked like the ultimate win for on-chain culture. In just a few clicks, you could mint a meme coin, rally your crew, and maybe change your life. But there was always a toll booth at the door, a 1% fee on every trade, hidden slippage, MEV attacks, and under invisible hands. The result? 3.3 million Solana, worth about $700 million, was vacuumed straight from users into the protocol's treasury. It's easy to ignore these numbers when you're on a heater, but the reality is stark. This was a casino, and you were not the house, ladies and gentlemen. Soul price suffered, and whispers about extraction turned into a full-blown outcry. But this was only a taste of things to come. Yesterday's pre-sale announcement made matters much worse. It was a reveal of a script that had been playing out in DMs and Discords for weeks. Everyone thought an airdrop was coming. Yeah, an airdrop would have been nice, just an airdrop. Users flooded chats, started threads, and waited. But leaked messages from inside the team shows it was just marketing bait. The screenshots have not been verified. Keep that in mind. Very important. But match the founder's MO, and if it's real, then it's the kind of move they've become notorious for in the space. There was never an airdrop planned, only $1 billion pre-sale with no details and no plan to share the upside with the users. You would think after making $700 million, they would want to share some with everyone else who's lost their bags. But let's be clear, this protocol won't be rewarding users. This is the classic create FOMO, lock in sky-high valuations, and dump on the community. This maneuver I've seen many times, time and time again. The tokenomics were never designed for the people who actually built the narrative, only for those with the keys to the vault. If you want to avoid being the exit liquidity in the next extraction machine, you have to look closer at the people behind the project. Over the years, I've seen the same warning signs play out again and again. A founding team with a hazy past, a shell company here, a mysterious rebrand there. The names might change, but the moves rarely do. Look at Pump.fun. One of their co-founders named Dylan Perler has a notorious reputation in crypto circles that goes way back. Long before this platform was raking in millions of dollars a day, back in the first big meme coin wave, a person by the same name was tied to multiple coins that popped up, promised the world, then nosedived overnight. Two of the most notorious eBitcoin Cash and Ethereum Cash were launched when Curler was just a teenager. He was all over the forums, drumming up the hype, making big promises about the revolutionizing payments and changing the game. For a while, it worked. But here's what happened next. As soon as the price hit a certain level, coins started flooding into exchanges and being dumped in huge batches. Within days, the price crashed nearly 90%. Investors, community members were left holding the bag. The developer disappeared from the threads, and all of those grand promises just vanished with him. To make things even shadier, the coins were moved through a complex web of wallets and exchanges, hiding where the money ended up. There's even an ongoing class action lawsuit around Pump.fun with claims that hundreds of millions were siphoned out through side contracts and unregistered sales, all wrapped up in shell entities. The founders keep a deliberately low profile, barely any public records, aliases online, and corporate structures bouncing between addresses in the UK. Even now, the digital breadcrumbs tie Curler's various online handles back to those old projects. And I can tell you how many times someone's tried to convince me this dev has changed, but people rarely do. This project is different, but as someone who's been burned before and who's watched friends lose on these exact same setups, the pattern is always the same. These tiny details, like a familiar Telegram handle or a LinkedIn account buried in old code repos, have saved me and others from walking right into a rug pull. For me, due diligence is absolutely vital. It's how you protect your capital and your community. No matter how good the marketing sounds, you always check the history, because in crypto, past behavior is the best predictor of future moves. If you can spot these red flags early, you'll save yourself and the people you care about a world of pain. The most dangerous game in crypto is the one you can't see right away. Insiders are now speculating that Pump.fun's true goal with the $1 billion raise goes beyond personal enrichment. Many speculate they plan to launch a brand new blockchain, an L1 built with Solana's own siphon liquidity. This tapeworm protocol strategy is commonplace in crypto. We've seen platforms bleed one ecosystem dry, then bootstrap a new chain, fork user bases, and poach devs. The irony? If Solana's best minds and liquidity move, holders get left behind nuked twice. That's the macro risk. When protocols become extraction machines rather than value creators, the chain itself can lose not just TVL, but credibility. And once a chain loses trust, the capital rarely comes back. The numbers tell the story. Interest in meme coins had already been declining. Solana meme coin volumes have crashed, and Solana's dominance in on-chain meme culture began to erode. With 90% of over 14,000 tokens launched now worth less than $100,000 each. Yet, despite the carnage, Solana still captured 57% of all L1 dApp revenues. That's the paradox. Even while extractors seem to be winning, real builders and users keep shipping, trading, and launching. So here's the big question. Does this moment force a flush, clearing out the extractors and letting new builders take the spotlight? Or is this a death spiral that accelerates the flight to ETH narrative we're seeing play out right now? If you're holding SOL, you need to know whether this is a dip to accumulate or the start of a trend to rotate out. Here's my personal checklist on how to dodge rugs every time, built the hard way. First, look for transparency. If a project has zero docs, no clear roadmap, and especially no details on user redistribution or airdrop plans, that's your first red flag. Second, examine the fee structure. Any hidden or explicit fee model that isn't explained up front is almost always a recipe for a slow bleed. Third, track insider activity. If insiders get liquidity or pre-sale access before the community, or if you spot large wallet moves to exchanges just before a big announcement, treat it as a major warning. Fourth, follow the comms. If mods are hyping surprises or pivoting the story every few days, assume you're not being told the whole truth. Fifth, always check wallet distribution. Avoid tokens where a handful of wallets or mysterious clusters control a large share of the supply without a clear explanation. This is often how insiders set up for stealth dumps or coordinate exits. Sixth, and most important, research the founder's history. Look for previous projects, lawsuits, or known rug pulls. Patterns repeat. Screenshot this, share it. Never trade blind. For every extractive casino, there are projects trying to build a fair crypto industry. Marinade, Jupiter, and Radium stand out for their transparent revenue sharing, open treasuries, and actual documentation. These teams return value to the people who make the ecosystem vibrant, instead of only insiders with the biggest bags. I urge you, if you found a project or a builder who genuinely shares value, drop their name in the comments. The only way to build a brighter future is by supporting the right kind of projects and founders that make the space better for everyone. This is why both Paid Network and Commonwealth have totally transparent value accrual and distribution mechanisms completely right there on the page, the white papers, and Paid even has an interactive chart that you can go look at how the token ecosystem works. Pump.fun's story is a wake-up call. Memes and on-chain fun will always survive. There's too much creativity, too much energy, and too much community, and too much of a promise to get rich quick that people fall for every time. But parasites only survive if we let them win. Let's all support real builders and call out the extractors and make that be known as well, loudly. Share this episode with your crew. Follow me on X, guys, to get real-time updates as the news breaks. Comment below with your rug stories and survival tips. And tell me what you think about Pump.fun. Love it or hate it. I'll feature the best ones in next week's episode. Do me a favor, guys. Destroy that like button. Subscribe. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this whole story. I'm curious to hear your opinions, and I read every single comment. And remember, guys, stay sharp. Continue to stack your Satoshis and your quality altcoins from real, true builders. I'll catch you guys on the next one. See ya.